Hello, everyone. Just a quick update because there has been some very, very important things happening, and I want you to kind of be up to date because this is, while at some point it may be tactical, I think it's worth noting a little bit about. I'm not going to go around the situation around Kharkiv and the east too long because everything's still the same. The Kharkiv is there. There's still some kind of attacks and like as I explained last time, Spetsnaz wars. If you haven't seen, just watch the video. I talk about what kind of warfare is happening around this area, and right now we definitely know that I'm actually gonna change the color. I think I use this color quite a lot to show the Russian advances for so long that we already totally forgot about the Ukrainian advances. And what we know so far is that Ukraine is exerting pressure here, and they're exerting pressure towards this part here. So that is nice. That is nice to hear, and good news. But let's go to the important part, and the important part is what we all expect is Kherson Oblast. So around Kherson, the most important part is to this north part here, which is going to go here. So there is this village which is called Vysokopilya. And in latest time, which actually happened over the past 2 weeks, you notice something very interesting. You notice that this village was taking, and now this village is also taking. And this was actually like a forepost village of Vysokopilya right here. So right now, there is actually Russian troops that are encircled in this village. Basically, they're not completely encircled. It's more like this, and there's like a small corridor, but that corridor is being fire controlled by the both sides of Ukrainians. And there is just over, by the reports, there is over 1,000 Russian troops that are captured there. Well, not captured yet, but they're semi-encircled. That is very bad news. That is extremely bad news for the Russians, because now they are, they don't know what to do. The point is they also cannot really do a lot because they have a similar situation might occur somewhere around this area. There is a similar situation that might occur around this area. Well, it's not actually exactly similar because the forepost around here is more around Velika Alexandrivka. But what we know is that this road, it was cut by the Ukrainians. So I think the map is a little bit outdated to not show the Ukrainian troop movements. But we definitely know that there is no more road connection to this south part. That is very important because now this weakens significantly this Velika Alexandrovka, and this is a key village. This is a very key village because it's one of the biggest one. And if this village and this village falls, that pretty much destroys the whole front line here. There is not going to be any front line supply of the forces along the front line. And that's why for the Russians now, they are threatened here, they are threatened here. And when I say threatened, like I say extremely threatened. Because as I explained, the situation has been developing very, 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 very slowly as Ukrainians took one village, the other one, and now they're finally putting pressure on the Russians. So it is unclear what the Russians are going to do with this, but they don't really have a lot of forces to push back Ukrainians. But so this is a very nicely developing situation. So I'm going to keep you up to date what's the situation, but please pay attention to any major news about Russians being captured in Vysokopilya. Beyond that, we know that the bridge has now been struck multiple times. So this bridge is pretty much gone right now. So the Russian forces are pretty much stuck in Kherson, and now it's a matter of time when the Ukrainians will find that they are strong enough to essentially advance. And as far as I'm aware, they're already trying some of the things. The other important thing is that the Western countries never learn. Like it's 150th day of war. It's like, well, it's how long? For how long? This is the fifth month. For how long more should we understand that Russia could never be trusted? So the grain export that everyone was talking about, even I was somewhat positive towards it. But as soon as yesterday the grain export treaty was signed, Russia this morning basically just decided to hope and missile strike the port of Odessa, which was basically one of the major port for the grain export. So the day after they signed the deal with the United Nations, what is with Turkey and so on, to allow export of the grain in Ukraine and not strike the necessary infrastructure, the next morning they just strike it. and this is funny. I just want the Western part and the Western world and just generally the world to kind of learn that Russia is a bully. They understand only force. That is the only force they understand. Look, they've been stopped in their aggression. They've been essentially halted, and now they are okay. Let's maybe start to have a talk and so on, because obviously they feel that they cannot advance, that they can get hit in the mouth very soon. So we need to support Ukraine. That's why the only thing that matters is providing weapons to Ukraine. And on this same note, I think this is why it's so frustrating that after Ukrainians plead to US again that they need long-range missiles for their HIMARS systems, the US said no, because then it will lead to the Third World War. That was the justification that was public. I'm not sure if that was the actual justification, but it was one of the stupidest justifications I've ever heard. I think I should make another stupidest justifications world tier list. Because think about it this way. Ukraine has HIMARS systems that are able to strike for 70 kilometers, right? So we know that there is a lot of juicy targets in Ukraine. Very nice that they want to strike. But think about it this way. They already have a border with Russia. So if they wanted to strike, it's about 70 kilometers inside Russia. If they wanted to strike targets inside Russia, they can do that already. But they don't. They respect the agreement that they signed. They respect that they are not using the missiles against the targets in Russian territory. And now we're saying, oh, we cannot give Ukraine missiles for 300-kilometer range because then they will strike the targets inside of Russian territory. That is not what is going to happen. This is a little bit of my frustration because I don't understand the logic. I think it's extremely dumb. I think it's not helpful at all to think like this, because Ukraine is trying its best to stay on par with what they are saying. Like there was, remember, like a week ago, there was a big talk about Ukraine having their weapons being sold in the black market, and Ukraine said, okay, it doesn't matter. Any country that wants to send people to follow where our weapons are going, please welcome. We're also implementing some of the new IT systems that will help us track the weapons and the ammunition where it's going. Let's do everything. We're open. We're completely crystal clear for where to do and what to do with this. So Ukraine is trying to be as crystal as possible, and it's only on the West that we still have this weird perception of, it's like, yeah, but maybe we can still deal with Russia. They signed the deal. The next morning, they strike they break the deal on their own side. And now, again, people on the West are going to just suck it up and be really very much unresponsive to this. Support Ukraine. Supply weapons. Stop with the weird pretenses. Stop defending the weird pretenses. We need to make sure that the bully that Russia is understands that it is not, Ukraine is not the country. Ukraine is not Russia. Russian troops have the option to just leave the country. Putin can end this aggression today. We all, as I'm going to quote again the Jens Stoltenberg for this, NATO Secretary General, and says we need to suck it up and support Ukraine.